Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. He will have the Rolodex, the database of that alumni. And those are in this country, not just this country, but I mean, that's why you go to Yale, that's why you go to the University of Chicago and that kind of thing in America. And he'll have that. And that's worth him sticking out another year, okay? If he does these deals, though, then that's another, he's way ahead of the curve, and so he's going to have to think, and I'm sure he'll ask me, well, you know, maybe that information base of this alumni isn't as important. I could have 22 deals done in that. Okay, but we're not there yet. Okay, he talked about taking action right away. You know, and the action for him was to enter the Toastmasters and be a participant. And remember, I told you about when you join Toastmasters, you want to be on the finance committee or the membership committee. One of the things that is really important, and the reason why I asked the question, nobody else asked the question, has your age come up? Now, there's only 2 or 3 of you in this room that the age might even come up. Everybody else is more than enough long in the tooth. Nobody's going to ask you. You know, although Sally and I got carded in Hawaii 6 months ago because there's a law in the state of Hawaii, everybody, whether you're 100 years old, gets carded. And I thought it was a joke. And I don't carry ID. So I convinced him that I was more than 21. You know. But anyway, so he will have, took action right away. Then he went and he continues to smell the leather. He went to, before he had gone to a Rose dealer, then he went to the Ritz Hotel, which is a great experience. Reveille Bar is a great experience. It's one of the Shaker movie bars in London where business guys go.
You can also go down to the Ritz Club, and they will let you in if you put yourself off as a prospective member.
Yes, yeah, and I'm a member of the Ritz Club, the gambling club underneath, yeah.
But you can go as a prospective member and you enjoy the facilities.
Okay, I didn't go that way, but I'm still a member. And he's doing things to continue different clothes, and I'm sure that the university students, especially when I go to lecture, even though some of the university students dress up, they mostly look like bums worldwide, no matter where you are. Oxford was a little better, but for the most part, they don't dress up. And so he's continuing to push the envelope. He also sends out, which you're going to get a template on, every 3 or 4 weeks, he sends an update out to the up to the board. Update. They get lonely when you don't give them information. They think they're the only board member you're not contacting. And you're embarrassed because you don't think you've accomplished enough, so you're not contacting anybody. And no matter how little you think you accomplished, these guys have done deals. These guys know shit happens. These guys know that life happens and deals fall apart. And they want to be in the loop of information. So every 3 to 4 weeks, you should send out a update, their board members, blah, 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 and you list the things that you did and the things that you list that you're going to do. And then continue to keep them updated. And not just with deal information on the numbers, but, you know, we're looking at this, we're looking at that. You know, we're still looking at the hub and spoke, but there's not enough candidates within 2 hours drive, so blah, blah, blah. Or when you, many of you will morph. You'll be in healthcare, but you'll morph from home health to assisted living. Or you'll morph from home health to radiology. That's a morph. It's in the same vertical. Some of you will pivot. Pivot meaning healthcare, you know, Peña, the old goat, tells me, but I mean, healthcare's a bitch here in Des Moines, Iowa, so we're going to go into, you know, cybersecurity or whatever. And so that's a pivot. A pivot is into another field. And a lot of the kids are successful doing that. Don't feel married to the area you started. Just like your boards are in transition, you know, And if you don't like, at least like it. You don't have to love it, be passionate about it. But if you don't at least like it, after 3, 4, 5 months, it gets old. And my best recommendation for you is to get out and pivot and do something else. Don't be so headstrong. But then now you've already got half a board, healthcare board. This is the question that comes up, and this is what you think. And you may not say it in your report, but on the bottom section, what am I not telling Dan? I'm scared shitless that if I pivot, my whole fucking board's going to leave me. You don't say it that way. You say it some other kind of way. But remember, the transaction guy or gal is a transaction guy or gal. Better that they're in your industry, but it's not mandatory. Okay? Now, the industry experts got to go. So those are the only two real people that you'll lose. And sometimes you'll get an industry expert that's a generalist, like me. I'm considered a generalist. I have expertise in a lot of different areas. Okay? Don't fall to pieces if you decide to pivot, because you got to be reasonably happy where you are. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to stay the course. You're not going to be able to stay the course, or stay the course meaning cross the goal line, because you're going to get tired. You're going to get tired. Now, I say this kiddingly. A lot of you guys say you worked out, for a little guy like that, I don't see how, I was taught to break through the barrier, not take more rest. Now, when I was trained for that shit that's 40, 50 years ago, I'm sure the world has, passed me by now. I was go till you drop and fall forward so you get an extra yard. Now, recover and, all this stuff they talk about, I don't believe in that shit. I just don't. I mean, it's politically correct. To me, it's a manifestation of lack of belief in yourself. And but you will be keeping track of working out. And everybody ought to go to the gym or work out or whatever 3, 4 times a week, 45 to 60, 90 minutes, but not make a life of it. I told you about the 20-hour fresh walking guy, which I'm still not sure what that means. But 20 hours working out. If you got 20 hours to work out, something's not right. Something's not right, and I think that's more than the professional Olympians work out. He is not the best kid I've got, but we've got a whole bunch of them. Now, questions or comments about ozone? Yes, sir.
How do he manage his time between the activities in calling?
Well, I mean, he's a pretty well organized guy. He's studying engineering. He's got spreadsheets up the ass vis-a-vis his time, and he's happens to be smart. So he's not putting in a whole bunch of hours studies. And I tell him put enough time to get A's. Okay, if you're going to go to school, do it right. Okay. Not like I did the first 3 times, flunking out, okay? Where I was just there. I used to go to Coffee Dan's for 2 and up of Bloody Marys in the morning. 7:30, they opened the bar at 7. I'd have 4 or 5 Bloody Marys before I went to class. The Coffee Dan's is now shut down. It's not there anymore. It used to be on Reseda Boulevard. And then I go out to lunch and play some 9-ball, have a couple of pitchers of beer. And by the time cocktail hour I was finely tuned. They used to give the books, and the books used to, they don't have lockers there anymore, do they? No. They used to have lockers. The books were in my locker the first day of the semester. When I went to sell the books back to the bookstore, my books had not been moved, and there was a dust line. So when I picked up the books, there was a dust line because I didn't crack the books. And so I remember a couple times the people in the bookstore, we'll take these back as new. The binding's not even cracked, meaning opening the binding up. That was my first 3 attempts at university. Then, 1964, Playboy magazine voted San Jose State University as the Playboy School of the Year in the world. So who went there? I got in on probation because I was on probation from the other school. And I went up there and, I used to live on 10th and Williams. And they used to have suds at sunrise parties, kegs of beer that they put in the streets for you to get fucked up. This is Monday morning. And then and I flunked out of there. But it was a riot and a half, but the Playboy magazine. So that was my incentive to go to school there. So I saved all my money up so I could go to San Jose State University. So I went there one semester, and then they booted me out. Okay, there was a question about...
His brother.
Mm-hmm. His twin brother.
Does he go to the same school?
I don't know that. I don't know.
Is he competing against his brother?
Well, that's his competition. But his brother didn't come here. Yes, sir.
You say for the video that this guy had something to prove?
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it is the hard-ass dad, and I don't know what that means in Turkish terms, but and that they don't call him stupid. They don't call him, they don't call him any of those names because he's a bright kid. But part of it is, his competition is his twin brother.
Industry?
Pardon?
He's in healthcare?
Yeah, healthcare. And healthcare is not the only one, but I keep telling this, but I've created billions in healthcare. So, I mean, and until healthcare keeps... when I told Rick Scott in 1986-7, I didn't know that healthcare was going to sextuple. I didn't know it was going to be 20% of GDP. I didn't know all my age don't want to die and they're willing to spend any amount of money. I didn't know there was going to be another 100 verticals in health. I didn't know all that. But as it turned out, better to be lucky than smart, healthcare has continued to expand, not dissimilar to the internet. When the internet first came out, as for those of you aficionados, Bill Gates said it's a passing fancy. Nothing to it. How wrong can you be? Yeah, question.
Yeah, when the black gentleman from South Africa was on, he has a conglomerate, and we were talking about this earlier at break.
Conglomerator, which is not a word, but anyway.
Does he have several industry experts on his board, or?
Well, everybody on the board is an industry expert in a different industry.
Okay, so he has one for each industry as opposed to...
he doesn't have a dairy guy.
Right.
He doesn't, but the dairy guy is going to stay on for 3 years. Now, some of these deals, and the ideal for a conglomerate is that you want the founder, the CEO, or whatever he calls himself, to stay on 1, 2, 3 years to show you the business. The guy with the airlines or the flight school is going to stay on 2, 3 years. And so that's what you want.
So if you switch, if you just go healthcare and then you decide you want to buy something, go into
Oh yeah, well I mean we've got guys, we have got guys in healthcare. I've been in healthcare 7, 8, 9 years, and all of a sudden they find a mining deal. Now I'm anti-mining. I've lost my ass in gold mining, but I was one of the biggest independent coal producers in the United States. Made a lot of money in coal, lost my ass in gold, okay, and silver. But we've got a healthcare guy, 5, 6 years, and now he wants to do gold mines. We got a guy in healthcare who's going to be making movies. We got sitting right in this room. We've got a wannabe Spielberg. When he came to me, you were this wannabe Spielberg, if I remember correctly. But now, I said, go make a bunch of money. Remember? I said, go make a bunch of money, then I can show you how to piss down a rat hole. I lost $25 million in the movie business quicker than I took a dump. I mean, it was gone. And they always used to say, you'll make it up in syndication. You make it up in syndication. And every time I look at the syndication numbers, where are they? Where are we making it up? Now they say, you stream it, you do this, and anyway. But so I'm jaded about the movie business. I never made any money on the movie business. We made, we produced the first the first Penthouse Pet of the Year awards with Bob Guccione. And this picture is here someplace with the dogs. That's him, Bob, right there. First Penthouse Pet of the Year awards. We broke even on that. We did a country western with Dolly Parton and Hoyt Axton. We made a few pennies. Pennies. We did a TV series called 666. And it was about three, and this was really ahead of the time because this was the late 70s, early 80s. Three kindergarten teachers who lived in Manhattan that lived at 666, some fancy street. They couldn't afford to live there as kindergarten teachers, so they were escorts. And that, for 78, not 80, I mean, that was way. That we made 6 episodes. We only played 2, and it was canceled. Because when they figured out that what the kind of escorts we were talking about, and we did Caligula, the movie, and that's how I met Sir John Gielgud and a bunch of famous actors that needed the work. And a lot of actors, when I found out in the late 70s and early 80s, just want to work, because they're broke. And Sir John Gielgud, which is hard to believe he was broke, wanted to work. And so he was in the movie. And so Caligula we made, and we made a couple other movies. But we rented the Aladdin Hotel in Vegas, the whole fucking hotel for a party. Kind of like your deal coming up. The whole fucking hotel. $250,000 a night. I was living large in those days. Fuck, I see ants fuck for $250,000. Who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck. 500, no, don't tell them $500,000. I remember my mouth, hummingbird, alligator mouth was about to overload my hummingbird ass. Because they would have taken the $500 from me like that. And so, but I was making all the money in the oil business. Who gives a shit, Had 3 planes. I mean, fuck, who gives, God. And I was more than 26, 28, so the front lobe of my head was already grown, okay? But when you really start to make a lot of money, your psyche changes. And so that way you need to have somebody stable around you. Now I'm that stable person, but that we're talking 40, 50 years ago, when and you never think it's going to end. Never going to end. I remember online, when Sally and I first went online, 99, 2000, we were making 50, 80, 100 grand a day on AdSense. I remember one day we made 240 grand. And then one day it was turned off. They changed the algorithms. We used to be one of the biggest advertisers, 100 million a year on Google. But now, then they had 10, 15, $100 million a year guys. Now they would rather have 2,000, 1 million a year guys. And the algorithms all changed. And I thought that money, I was planning on spending that money for the next 50 years. And then it just disappeared. So I'm just telling you that, you never think it's going to end. And I made, I had cars and all. The only thing I didn't do was drugs. The only thing, and that's because I told you, my dad put a gun to my head and pulled the hammer back and said, when I was about 14, 15 years old, and said, and he says, you're about ready to be exposed to these things. He gave me the birds and the bees talk about how you have babies in about 15, 20 seconds. Then he put a gun to my head, cocked the hammer back. I can still see the bullet. And he said, the only cure for motherfucking drugs is a motherfucking bullet in your motherfucking head, and I'm the motherfucker that'll put it there. Never even, if there was drugs, I drove the other way. Because I knew my dad would kill me dead. There was no doubt in my military civilian mind. Because when my dad said he was going to fucking fuck you up, he fucked you up. But anyway, when you start making a lot of money, it's a wonderful feeling, though. It's the best sex you ever had. It doesn't compare. Doesn't even compare. I used to light cigars with $100 bills. I used to keep $4 or $5 grand in my pocket and just throw it out of the limo as we drove. I had the longest limo in Texas. And that's saying something. It had 3 electronic bars because I didn't want my mates to have to reach too far to get a drink. This, fuck. I'm just telling you guys and gals. I know what when I tell you these are the pitfalls, it's because I've fallen down those crevices. Okay, YouTube, thank you.